Here we go again. I'm reacting to Miss Queen of Insults herself, Katiclyzm. She's responding to Andrew Wilson, responding to the video that she made about him. So it's a bit confusing, but anyway, man, let's dive into it.
And not take it too seriously, but also kind of take the piss out of him, because I feel like he needs that a little bit.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Oh, you take the piss out of all the jewelry in your face. Do you think that she has a ring in her face for each abortion she's had?
Hi guys, I'm gonna skip the intro because I don't think anyone really cares. You guys just want to see Andrew Wilson react to me, right? So we'll try and get straight into it. But some of you may be a little lost if you don't know who Andrew Wilson is. Andrew Wilson is a member of the Whatever podcast. He is very good friends with Brian Atlas, the host / moderator of the Whatever podcast. Now, the Whatever podcast self-identifies as a dating podcast, but this has kind of been proven many times. It is not a dating podcast. I mean, they ask the girls to rate themselves. They berate the girls when they give an answer they deem to be too high. They demand women to be submissive. It is a very clearly misogynistic podcast, which they will argue they are not
It is a dating podcast. On a dating podcast, they're going to ask dating related questions. That's basic logic right there. There's people that come on there and they're going to have debates with these women, with Andrew and Brian, the host, dive into loads of different topics and dynamics of dating relationships. It doesn't make them evil for it. Katiclyzm back at it again with a classic throwing around words that she don't really understand the meaning of and things like that. So yeah.
They will argue they do not hate women, but I mean, I would go on later in this video to prove many reasons why I believe they do hate women, or if not...
That's going to be very interesting to see if she's going to be able to show us how hosts on the Whatever podcast are misogynists and how they hate women. Again, not understanding the meaning of the word misogynistic, not knowing what it actually means and just throwing it around for fun.
You know, openly, they are internalizing a lot of hate towards women, because there's no way after you finish today's video, you can't look at these people and think that they like women in any way, shape or form, unless they abide to their every rules. Now, quite truthfully, I really did put off making this video. I have done many.
Andrew Wilson, he's literally married, and he's been married for, I think he said, around 10-15 years, over a decade. How can you say these people don't like women when one of them is married for half of her life, basically? It's ridiculous, man.
Because of the audience that this man harbors. Now, a lot of people, if I've got any fans of him watching right now, are probably going to comment calling me a pussy and a little bitch. That's fine, I'll let you get it all out. But I mean, realistically, as a YouTuber, not a debater, I'm very cautious of, you know, getting involved with a very red-pilled side of the internet, because I know from experience how
she's acting like one, because she's all confident when she's doing her videos. She can sit down, speak to the camera and insult people left, right and center. But if it comes to actually having like a one-on-one debate, she's terrified of it. I made another reaction to another one of her videos where she was debating these guys from the reality check, and she had even admitted, because she called in on the live stream or whatever, that she was terrified and nervous, which makes sense. Like, it's not easy. It's easier said than done, right? When you're behind the screen, then when it's actually happening and you're speaking to the people that you disagree with or whatever. But you can't dish it out to this level the way she does it here and not expect to have any backlash or any consequences from it. Especially someone like Andrew Wilson, who's got a huge fan base, and they're very dedicated, very loyal to him and his beliefs, because they all share the same beliefs and all that type of stuff. If you come for him, they're gonna come for you. You gotta be willing to stand by your beliefs and your morals and be able to debate people. If it comes to it, it will be even great content for her to make even more money, because we all know she loves that. I think she should do that, learn from her as well. The one time that she did, they gave her a reality check, pun intended. The reality check podcast gave her a reality check, and she couldn't really debate them and get to her points the way she wanted to, and she contradicted herself, and it kind of exposed her. The more she kept talking, the more she exposed herself. But I guess that's why she doesn't want to do it in the first place, because she knows she's full of
truly be. But then I thought, you know what, these people benefit all the time from talking about women, getting women on, humiliating women, berating women, so why not make a bag while also responding? You know, I mean, some of the comments I've already got after Andrew watched my video about him have ranged from telling me that I shouldn't have the right to vote, as well as assuming that I've had many abortions. So it's a really safe place on the internet. It's a really safe place to be.
Maybe not many, but she's had one, and one is one too many, in my opinion.
Unlike what Andrew Wilson did, I'm not going to encourage you guys to go over to his channel.
Go over to the comment section on the I Hate This Man video. go down to that comment and comment underneath it.
I really don't think it's effective. This man is very, very confident with his opinions. He's very, very stubborn. As much as he likes to criticize other people for being small-minded and stupid, nothing you will say will help. And I honestly don't think harassing somebody is even worth any of our time. So just don't go over and do that. As much as it's very ironic that this man genuinely asked people to come over to my channel and comment things, which resulted in people saying things like, your body, my choice, saying this broad has the right to vote and this is why women shouldn't vote. I don't really want to return that energy. So if we could all just stay and keep it in this comment section, I would be very appreciative. But yeah, let's watch his stream, watching me, watching him, whatever it is.
Finally, we are here. Finally. To fight back.
It's basically this for a really long time.
Yes. Destroy them. By the might of the manosphere, attack with no mercy.
I'm so lost right now. Like, what's going on? What's Andrew doing?
Hunt them down. In.
The best part about this is you guys are seeing it without the Star Wars audio over it.
Actually has a stream titled I Hate This Man. Boy, her name is Caitlyn.
That's wild, and I think she's changed the title now from originally being called I Hate This Man to I think I really dislike this man or something like that. But why did she change it in the first place? Again, stand by your beliefs. We already know you dislike men. You're real misandrist and all that type of stuff. You prove all the time with your actions and your words and the type of videos that you do. So stand by it. Don't be shook and nervous when you're getting called out. But for YouTube to allow that in the first place, to me, it's kind of wild, man. If men were to do that, if I was to title my video I hate, or I don't think it will go well for me. Women are allowed to do it, but not men.
Okay, first of all, if we're going to talk about research, Andrew, please do your research. My name is Katiclyzm. Nothing about my name looks like it says Katiclyzm. Like, if you go on to see what he goes to say about me for the next hour or so, me pointing out that he can't even read the word cataclysm is kind of insane. Now, I know it isn't an actual spelling of the word cataclysm, but, I mean, it says how it's spelled, you know? Katiclyzm. 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 Let's go with Katiclyzm. Not really relevant though, to be fair. And the other thing I would point out is, yes, I did title the video I Hate This Man. Now, okay, I'll change it to I Greatly Dislike This Man. After seeing loads of the clips you've said, Andrew, about women and your opinions about women, yeah, I feel like I'm within my own right. Now, I'm not going to tell you guys to hate this man. I'm not. If you really want to know, go and look at some of the clips that the Whatever podcast themselves have posted that involve Andrew Wilson. So then nobody can be accused of manipulating information. You can get first-hand opinions on this lovely man. I mean, all I'll say is this guy rated his wife a 6 out of 10 because he was living in objective reality.
So she's allowed to call him or say that she hates him, yeah, but then she'll go and say they're misogynist, meaning they hate women, when that's not actually true. She can lie about someone and bear false witness. That's okay.
I've never even understood how that's a dunk. It's just objective reality. You just can't tell anybody what's true or they freak the out.
That's all I'm going to say about my like for this man.
Over on YouTube, it's only got 100,000 views, right?
Oh, zing, Andrew! Zing! I'm happy with my 100k, mate. Seriously,
Only, you know, damn. you know you're big here when you think 100,000 views is a small number. Speaking from someone who's just literally just starting off on YouTube, like, I can only dream of that shit, man. You guys, like, hopefully if you're watching, whoever's watching, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Help me get there, man. Help me get to the measly little 100k views. I would die happy getting those type of numbers, man. Most YouTubers don't see those type of numbers, so crazy comment.
All right, 100k. Don't let him bring you down. I'm happy with 100k. But I just wanted to point out the whole controversy blew up because this video, which I will input now, was posted.
When you say like certain people, it's like, okay, dude, yeah, I guess you could make the case that like is bad for certain people.
No.
For certain people.
No, it's bad for everyone.
No, it's only bad for certain people. Here,
Andrew,
like there's women, you agree, who have during essay.
That has nothing to do with whether it's essay.
Bro.
That has nothing to do with whether it's essay. Are you kidding me?
Bro, I didn't say whether or not it's essay. I said during essay.
What does it have to do with anything?
Well, bro, if that's the case, right? Was it bad for them?
Yes.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because there are overriding harms than just orgasm. I'm not saying that's not the case. What?
Perfect. So then here's the case then. The case is like when you say for some people, right? The reason you keep saying that is because even though it's the vast overwhelming majority of people, you want to like create this little minutia outlier, right? Is it logically possible that there's ever been a woman who's been essayed who'd enjoyed it?
I am not going to.
Can you answer my question? Is it logically possible?
I'm not ascribing anything to that.
Do you think there's ever been a single woman who's been essayed and has enjoyed it?
I'm not going to answer the question.
Answer the question.
I'm not going to answer the question.
But because then I can't say some people.
I'm not going to answer whether women enjoy being great.
That's not what I asked you.
Whether a woman has enjoyed being great.
If there's ever been one. Do you think there's ever been one?
No, I'm not answering.
You don't think there has?
Why not answer it? That's just blatant dishonesty in a debate. You're in a formal debate. The whole point is to try and break down the other person's arguments by any means necessary, and that's what Andrew's doing. It's just a question. Like, is it technically possible that there's women who enjoy it or have enjoyed it while that's happening? There's literally women who fantasize about those type of things. As crazy as it sounds, you can't blame us for just speaking the truth on the reality of this crazy world that we live in. You have crazy people, yes, and there's crazy women who enjoy those type of things. They exist. It's just factually true. There's nothing wrong with asking a question and answering it honestly. If you're not being honest in a debate, you've already lost. You have no integrity, you have no foundation of your beliefs that you're standing by. You're just flip-flopping and changing things, or being dishonest to not look bad or to look a certain way. That's not how you debate. That's not how you win a debate. That just exposes your fakery, basically.
No, and I'm not going to answer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to answer. I'm not going to. This is such a weird thing. This is such a weird thing to get on.
What's wrong with answering the question?
Because I'm not going to contribute to rhetoric that tries to say that there is anything good about SA.
Who said there's anything good about it?
You just said that some women orgasm, therefore that is a good of it.
Now, obviously, everybody was outraged by this video. I mean, including myself. I saw the video and I thought, what a stupid thing to say. Now, his fan base have got it very confused, including Andrew himself. They are under the belief that I did not understand that there was context behind that clip. So a lot of his fan base are arguing that, well, this is missing context, so you're spreading false information about him. I've seen the context. Unlike what Andrew clearly proves to us here in his video, I did not do that video not knowing the context of the segment. I knew the context of the segment. If you watch him explain the context, it does not save him. It doesn't. It's weird. Not only is it a really weird way to go about proving your point, it was not logical. It didn't make any sense. Now, a lot of his fans like to make you explain exactly why it doesn't make any sense, but I don't really think I need to do that when anybody now who's watched the full context, which I'll give everybody for you, Andrew, it doesn't help you.
He was continuously referencing the term some people when he was actually referencing the vast majority of a group. I demonstrated this by creating a hypothetical where if it were the case that a single SA survivor didn't have a bad experience with SA, no, it's only bad for certain people. Here, like there's women, you agree, who have during SA.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA.
Bro.
That has nothing to do with whether it's SA. Are you kidding me?
Bro, I didn't say whether or not it's SA. I said during SA.
What does it have to do with anything?
Well, bro, if that's the case, right, then was it bad for them?
Yes.
Why? Would it then be fair to say that we could reference that when a person had this horrible thing happen and say, well, some people don't enjoy that?
I see what the logic was, but the fact that to prove your point, you had to try and equate pleasure and as the same thing, meaning that in theory, some people probably did technically enjoy SA. No, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody, again, I'm not gonna, all I have to say about that part was I knew the context. There's no lying involved, like his audience are trying to accuse me of. I mean, all the comments were saying, you lied about Andrew, this is defamation. What lie did I say? At no point did I lie. I said in my video, in fact, I'll show you what I said in my video. I don't want to hear comments about context because in this situation, that this should not be brought up. It was weird regardless of the context. So I really don't see how that's a good rebuttal, but that's just a matter of my opinion. Obviously, he's going to say otherwise. Do I actually think he was sitting there purposefully trying to justify? No, I don't think he was trying to do that. My whole argument was that I think it was a really weird thing to say and a really weird way to make connections between, for example, as I've said a million times,
So what if you found it weird to say? That's not a factual or logical argument. You can say anything the person that you're debating with is weird if you wanted to. That's just your opinion. It doesn't make it technically weird. Again, there's context behind it. You're agreeing with the context, or you're saying that you understand the context. So then you should know why he's asking. That's the whole point of context. Why is the person doing what they're doing? Why are they talking about this? Building the whole picture, putting their blocks together, connecting the dots. Just because you find it weird, it doesn't mean you can say that he's wrong because you personally find it weird emotionally or whatever the case may be in your mind.
Orgasming meaning you've enjoyed it. You know, again, context or not context, why would you say that? I mean, we've had this argument plenty of times. If you look at the context, this argument's been made loads of times, but I haven't heard many people actually make that argument, probably because it logically does not make any sense. People are so fast to defend him by going, you just don't get his logic. Do you get his logic? Because it doesn't, to me, it does not make any sense. Anyway, the reason I addressed this so early on in the video is because this is what I was being harassed for by his fans, saying that I took things out of context. Firstly, I did not clip up that clip. I did not make that clip at the beginning of my video. I did not make that. That's on the internet, accessible to everybody. Secondly, calling me a liar in itself is defamation when you can't actually pinpoint where the lie is. Not only that, but you didn't get to the part where I actually talked about that clip. You didn't even watch it. You just ended the stream way before you got to me addressing that video about you. So I don't even think you believe that it was defamation yourself, because if it was me, I would have opened that, skipped all the rest of the video and skipped to the part that you're in a controversy about, and I would have spoke about that, but you didn't do that. Instead, you insisted on telling your entire fan base to call me a liar, which is not on. I mean, you talk about defamation and then you send your little cronies over to my comment section. That doesn't make any sense. Anything else you want to get off your chest, get
That's saying the very least. I called her the queen of insult. Insult, just non-stop. I wouldn't necessarily call it immature. It's just personality trait, basically. It shows your bad character and the type of person you are. Fair enough, she's admitting she's not a debater, but people do that when they don't really have logical things to say, so they just insult you. I've had many situations here with people online on Instagram and stuff like that. When you challenge them and you pin them into a corner, you ask them specific questions, which happened to her as well in her debate with the Reality Check podcast. They kept asking her, address the question. She kept saying, I am addressing, I have addressed it, just not the way you want me to address it. No, you didn't address it. Because then she goes on to say after that, okay, fair enough, I'll address it, meaning she didn't address it. She was just talking for time. I mentioned all this in the first video I posted. It's ridiculous. People do that when they don't have anything smart to say. Even though she calls herself not a debater, you make these videos and you talk very confidently. You go on like you know what you're talking about. Everyone else is stupid, but I'm smart and I'm a genius. That's how she portrays herself, as like an intelligent person. If you listen closely and pay attention to what she's saying, there's a lot of hypocrisy involved in it as well. Double standards and things like that. She literally just yaps and yaps. I know I yap a lot here, but at least I try to be logical and consistent with what I'm saying. But when she yaps, it's yapping for no reason. That's a waste of time. Don't just yap for no reason. Make logical sense.
Me probably in any situation, because I'm not a debater. I haven't had the life experience to be a good debater. I don't know what makes a good debate. I just have my feelings and opinions about stuff and I voice them on my channel. That doesn't make me a debater.
It's not about having life experience that makes you a good debater. It's called IQ, intelligence, brain functionality, being able to problem solve. Listening as well is a big, huge part of it, because if you're debating someone, you're not hearing what they're saying and listening to their points here. You're just gonna ignore what they're saying, or you're gonna forget what they're asking you, and then they might trap you in something. Then because you're not listening, you're gonna be stuck and confused about how to answer it because you didn't listen. If you pay attention, you listen, then you can catch your opponent out on the things that they're saying that you think are wrong. Then you can call them out. Then it goes back and forth. That's a debate. She doesn't care about what anyone else thinks, because again, I hate saying it, she's showing traits of like narcissism. Maybe not on the high extreme level, but there's some traits of narcissism in my opinion. To people like that, she doesn't give a at all about what anyone else thinks. It's all about her emotions and her feelings. And this is how a lot of women unfortunately are, especially these type of feminists. It's just based on emotion. There's no logic behind what they say. That's why literally every single woman that goes on these so-called misogynistic podcasts, they get destroyed. On Reality Check podcast, where she was reacting to her debate with them, it was all about this woman that went on there, this OnlyFans worker, and then she cried because she got completely destroyed to the point that she couldn't take and hack what they were saying because it was so truthful, so hurtful. Truth hurts. She ends up walking off the podcast and complaining, and that's why she made a response to that video, all because the woman cried. Even though she doesn't agree with OnlyFans workers, all of a sudden all her morals went out the window, and now she's arguing for or defending this one specific woman because of her having to defend this one specific woman and her points. Because that woman believes in doing OnlyFans, she's now unknowingly shooting herself in the foot arguing for OnlyFans work or sex work in general. Huge huge contradiction. This is why you need to stick to the truth and be honest, and you won't lose most of the time. Of course, you're gonna find or meet someone a lot smarter than you. There's always someone better, but most of the time, if you stick to the truth, you can't really go wrong. And if you stick to the truth, both people stick to the truth. Both people live by that logic. There will be no arguments in the first place.
It doesn't make me qualified to debate you. I don't necessarily think you're a qualified debater, but you are, from what I've seen, you're a pretty decent debater in terms of I can't follow half the shit you're saying. But in my eyes, I think that's because a lot of the stuff you said doesn't make sense, and you shut people down very.
You said you're not a debater. You admit that he's a good debater, and a lot of the things he says you can't keep up with. It doesn't compute in your head because, again, no offense, man, IQ. You're not intelligent enough to understand what you say, as if to say that what he's saying is wrong. No, it doesn't make sense because you just simply don't understand it, and you just admit it. You can't keep up.
I'm getting into it very fast. Let's go. Podcaster who is on the Whatever podcast, a podcast that we've spoke about before on this channel a very long time ago. Recently, some clips have gone viral with him saying some absolutely just insane, moronic things, and I thought we'd kind of delve into it a bit. So there, again, if he wants to say that I took that out of context, I didn't. I said he said insane, moronic things, and I showed what he said. Again, like, context applied, it doesn't change what you said. I think what you said was weird in the context, but he just doesn't get that I know that. It was the conclusions that he drew from, you know, like a symptom, for example, of that I thought was weird because it just didn't, again, logically, it was a flawed argument. And again, I can already hear his comments. Okay, explain how. It was logically flawed because saying that an equates to pleasure equates to enjoyment, to try and get someone to admit that there might be logically a small amount of people who have enjoyed SA is it's already a very, very known narrative that's spread online, but it's also something that doesn't need to be said to prove your point. So therefore, what I said was true in my intro. You do say weird things, and I showed what you said. There was no lie involved. Now, you can make out that that's a lie if it makes you feel better, but I did not make any overriding statement saying that you support. I didn't say that. And not take it too seriously, but also kind of take the piss out of him because I feel like he needs that a little bit.
Yeah, I know a little bit. Oh, you take the piss out of all the jewelry in your face. Do you think that she has a ring in her face for each abortion she's had?
No, Andrew, I actually have had one abortion, and it's because I was pregnant as a result of essentially. So yeah, no, I've had one abortion, and I'm sorry that, you know, basic healthcare offends you. I'm very content with the decision I made. Now, I'm not going to go into the ins and out of abortion as murder. If that's the case, fine. I'm a murderer. It's done and dusted now. Not really bothered. Classic go-to insult of, you know, women having bodily autonomy and being able to make decisions about their own livelihood. I'm sorry that really offends you, and, like, that's the point of a joke for you. I don't know how we're meant to take your opinions on abortion seriously when you kind of throw it around like abortion is just like popping pillies every day, because, you know, it's not really that easy, but it proves very much how you feel about the subject. So I feel like I'm very, very within my right to say I do not like you. I greatly do not like you.
I bet she does.
So yeah.
Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but she seems a bit upset when she talks about it. It's a hurtful topic, and obviously I don't know the background of what happened and why she made a decision to do that. It could potentially have been a case of, you know, and if that's the case, I'm sorry to her for that. That's unfortunate. But a lot of the times it's not. A lot of the times women just do it for convenience sake, because the baby would be an inconvenience to their life. If that's the case, there's no excuse for it in my books. It is a life, man.
Another thing you could do is...
Also, just to interject, I think it's really interesting that it's not okay for people to make assumptions about you and to make overriding statements about you, but you're allowed to bet that I've had multiple abortions. I think that's kind of funny.
Just eliminate anybody being able to vote until they reach the same age that they could become president of the United States.
Is that not 35?
Mm-hmm.
So you think that everyone under 35 should lose the right to vote?
Why shouldn't everyone under 35
that was
be able...
the most boomer shit I've ever
Why
heard.
shouldn't everybody under 35 be able to be the president of the United States?
Well, because they don't have the... But they're still...
Yeah, that wasn't a gotcha moment. And
Yeah, it was a gotcha moment. And she looked really stupid when she said, well, because they're not mature enough to run anything. It's like, right, exactly. Exactly. They're not old enough to govern. They're not old enough to govern.
Again, in my honest opinion, I that wasn't a gotcha. You still didn't prove anything to me. You repeated the exact same thing that she said, and then I go on to say, which is running the country is not the same as having a vote on what you want. If you pay taxes in said country, you get a say. You know what? Fine. Revoke everybody's right to vote under the age of 35. But in that case, I'm not paying any tax. What ridiculous thing to say. Now, I will grant this man this. He knows more about American politics than I do. He probably knows more about politics than I do in general. And you know what? Maybe he does have a better idea about how the country is ran, but that doesn't mean to say that I don't recognize some things he says as being nonsensical. Now, no matter how much this man wants to put me down and say that I'm stupid and small-brained and low IQ'd, I can still recognize illogical arguments. And to me, that is illogical. I think a lot of people would agree that you can have an idea of what you want, you know, as a citizen of a country, and also recognize that you're not equipped to run the country because of maturity and life experience. I'm genuinely like being gaslit by myself right now, thinking, so am I missing something? Because you know what? I am genuinely willing to learn. I am willing to learn from pretty much anybody. I might not agree with your views, but if you have genuine like logic and facts to back something up, I'm willing to learn and listen. But to me, that point, I really just...
Unless you're a man. Unless you're a man that disagrees with her, then she's not willing to learn. Trust me, she's not.
It doesn't make any sense to me.
But what is she going to do? She's about to cope. Let's listen to the cope.
Andrew, that's so dumb.
That's just so dumb. Boy, what a great argument. She's already eviscerating me.
This is going to set the tone, guys, for you for the entire video. All this man does is basically call me stupid, which... Look, I'm not a politician, nor am I a debater, and I know I'm not the brightest girl in the books. I know I'm not the smartest. I've been a crazy academic. I'm not even crazily, you know, well educated about like every issue in every country. Like this guy, he knows a lot more facts than me. I will give him that. He knows a lot more facts. He's quite quick-witted with his responses. But that is why, guys, I am a commentary YouTuber and he is a debater. Okay? That is why I am a commenter. I'll say it again. I am a commentary YouTuber. I don't do debates because with videos, it's no hidden secret that I record my videos, I plan them, I say things, and I'm an entertainment channel first and foremost. I don't like you. Many people don't. Therefore, I reacted to some clips, some that your actual podcast posted, some that other people posted, and I make statements of what I think about you. I do it to everybody on this channel that I do not like. Now, if you're going to put your opinions out there, as I know, you get feedback. To just sit there and call me stupid and not actually, like, the irony is he says I don't present any good arguments. He doesn't either. He just says I'm wrong about everything and calls me dumb and then insults my appearance. I think it's very hypocritical to take the stance that you are some crazy debater. And I've seen some of his debates. Some of them are good. Some of them, in my opinion, are logical. Some of them I wouldn't have a response for, and I will give him credit where credit's due. But throughout a lot of this, he's misunderstanding the point of a commentary channel, and I truly believe it's because the majority of these people fail to see a genre of social media outside of red pill content where there's a dominant person, a submissive person in their eyes. The dominant just tells the submissive how stupid they are. Then they label the video, angry feminist gets destroyed. It's the same layout and structure every single time.
It is based on truth. The feminists are angry. They do get destroyed in their debate. They don't win their debates.
Different types of content to just thinking, you know, that your opinion is the most correct and you know everything. When I do my videos, obviously I have opinions on things. I don't know if they're always the most correct, but like the irony to say that I don't have any logical arguments and mock my approach when you clearly don't even understand the premise of commentary. Like a lot of my content has been quite political as of recently, but I'm not like, that's not all I do. I did a video the other day looking at Facebook posts. I'm not a debater, so it's not the gotcha that you think it is, truly.
Talented rhetorical.
I'll give it that, yeah, because that's what my channel is all about. To be fair, to be honest, that's my idea or goal. Because I watch a lot of things, loads of different topics, movies to music, politics, news, pop culture, whatever, anything, literally anything I find interesting, I'll kind of look into. I have a lot of opinions on these type of things. Why not make a channel reacting to a lot of these things and get my thoughts out there? I'm a yapper. As you might have noticed by now, I'm trying to cut it down. I'm just starting off, hardly got any subscribers and engagement and things like that. I'm trying to take it slow because I do notice I stretch my videos out way too long, so I'm trying to cut it down. And then as I'm saying that, I'm yapping on, so yeah, but let me end it there.
Andrew, that's so dumb.
This is my problem with these people. They think because you hesitate for more than 5 seconds to think about what you've said, that means they've got you, I've got you, see? Like, wait.
No, that's not why I thought I had her. I thought I had her because she agreed with me that, yeah, probably you don't want anybody to be president of the United States under 35 because you don't have enough experience, life experience to be the president of the United States. But somehow they have enough life experience to vote for him.
Wait for her response. Now, okay, I see the logic in what he's trying to say, because he's saying that voting for the country is obviously a very, very important thing. It requires, knowledge on said country. But again, as I said before, you get taxed as soon as you're earning a certain wage. So clearly you know enough and contribute enough to be a part of society, to be a cog, in the massive machine of society. So as much as I kind of understand what you're trying to say, I feel like that logic is very much limited. Then he goes on to talk about how he would fuck an 18-year-old, but okay, it's okay to fuck an 18-year-old, but you can't let them vote. And he argues that he argues against this when you say it all the time, but it doesn't change the fact that what you're saying.
But that's because having sex with someone doesn't take intelligence or any brain capacity, especially for women. Women could just lie there. It doesn't take much. But if you're voting for something, you need to have logical sense and understanding of what you're voting for, why you're voting for it. That takes researching the politician that you're voting for, what they believe in, their political views, what they're going to do for you personally and for the whole country as a whole. All of these type of things. That takes thinking. So there's a huge difference between sex and voting.
Kind of is creepy. It's just creepy. Young man.
So there's just a tone policing video.
Second of all, running a country is very, very different. Tone policing? You did It's funny how I've noticed another tactic of Andrew's is he just throws out all of these debate terms, which quite frankly, half of them I have no idea what they mean. And again, call me stupid, call me an idiot, that's fine, I'm not a debater. But just labeling and sectioning off parts of my debate without actually saying anything.
If you don't know what things mean, definitions of words and stuff, one, why use them in the first place? These feminists and her using misogyny in the wrong context all the time. They don't care. It's lost its meaning, to be honest. They just throw it around for fun. It's like a buzzword. So if you don't understand the meaning of something, how are you gonna make a comment on it or even be able to argue against someone's points and say you don't disagree when you don't understand what they're saying in the first place? It's not common sense. First, to debate or disagree with someone, first understand what they're saying and why you disagree with it. That's to comprehend in your head, to be okay, I understand what they're saying and this is why I disagree with it. If you don't understand what they're saying or the words being used and all this type of stuff, then how do you know if you disagree with them or not? They could be saying something that you actually agree with. They don't care about logic and truth. It's all based on emotion. Well, she's proven that by saying this.
Even a debate, it's just me giving my opinion on you. You've picked the worst person to pick apart a video of because, again, it's no secret that you're not going to get some crazy social commentary. I just react to people I don't like, and I react to people, well, I never react to people that I like, but I react to content that I don't like. In this logic, you're not allowed.
We're agreeing on these type of things. The purpose of the YouTube, the commentary type of style and all that type of stuff. Reacting to videos that you like, it's boring. Sometimes when I'm watching videos and I comment, the only time I would comment is when I disagree with someone. I may love their content, I might be subscribed to them and all this type of things, But if they say something that I disagree with, just because you like someone, it doesn't mean you can't call them out or something they say that you might not agree with. There's not one person that you're gonna agree with every single thing, 100%. Even though some people have that kind of mindset, you gotta be able to call people out here, even if you like them. If they're saying something that's true, okay, fair enough, agree. But then if they say something that's not true, be honest with yourself. Stick to your moral. Don't just worship the ground they walk on and act like they're gods. On the flip side of that, if you don't like someone and they happen to say something that's truthful and factual that you agree with, be honest with yourself. She needs to learn and do that when she's debating these type of people in their reality check debate. She was basically just arguing against herself because she agrees with what the men stand for and what they're saying, and she knows it's logically true because in the end she ends up admitting that they're right, But then she spent the whole time insulting them as well, on top of you pretending you don't agree with what they're saying there. You're insulting them for no reason. You're insulting them for what? Low-key agreeing with them. You're giving them a hard time when you agree with them. If you would just stick to the truth and then be like, I agree with what you're saying. Or fair enough, the girl cried. But it's not enough for me to argue completely against everything I stand for, which is what she did. So people need to learn to be that way. There would be no arguments in the first place, or at least dramatically reduced amounts of debates and argument between red pill and feminists. There'll be more peace in the world.
Opinions on absolutely anything unless you are completely and utterly foolproof with every single piece of knowledge ever. I don't like you because of stuff you said online. I don't like you. I don't like you because of stuff that you said that I find horrible. I don't like your opinion on abortions. I don't like your opinion on being able to f 18-year-olds. I don't like the fact that you openly think it's a nice thing to do to call your wife a 6 out of 10 because it's objective reality. I don't like the fact that...
Of course you're not going to like him. He's against abortions. Why? Because you had one. She won't admit it, but she probably feels bad about it. I kind of get that vibe. So that's why you don't like him, because he's calling out the truth. Again, people like her, they don't like the truth. The devil is a liar, right? The devil doesn't like truth. Not calling her necessarily a devil, but it's the devil's spirit. When you call out the truth, they don't like it. So they're gonna obviously be against it and offended, even if it's logical. So yeah, that's why abortion, the 18-year-old thing, they're adults. Majority of girls like her, a lot of the feminists here, who do support OnlyFans work. When can you do OnlyFans work? At 18. So you're allowed to go and do those crazy things with strangers, but then you can't date someone in a normal, loving relationship that's not there for purely sexual reasons. Isn't that strange? And then yeah, calling his wife a 6. Like 6 is above average. A 5 is average, right? Meaning majority of people are 5s. That's why it's the majority, that's why it's an average. So if you're saying that you're 6 here, I don't know why people take offense to that. If I get called a 6, I'm happy, man. You're saying you're better looking than majority of people in the world, but you're winning. Why do people take offense to that? But regardless, him being truthful about his wife, being logical here, what's wrong with that? What do women want to be lied to or something like that? Lie to me and tell me I'm like a 10 when I'm not. It boosts their ego, and then that's why they get gassed and thinking they're above the men that they're actually on the same level. Average men that are on their level don't get a chance for them, because they've been so gassed up. Truth is the problem solver of everything. If they stuck to the truth and they realize there may be fights, and that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, then they'll give the men who are fighting a chance as well, and then there'll be more relationships, more babies, more love in the world. Again, not to sound cheesy or anything, but
women going outside with their boobs out is displaying the goods and makes you a bad partner. There's a lot I don't like that you say. I don't have to know absolutely everything to have an opinion on you. And that's what this man genuinely believes. And even when he debates debaters, he thinks they're stupid. He calls them dumb. So in Andrew's eyes, who is a good match for you to debate, Andrew? Because at this point, you have presented yourself to be this untouchable person. And I don't think that's necessarily through debate skill. I think that's to do with attitude. And you can call that tone policing all you want. But again, that's a matter of my opinion.
This isn't stuff.
Debates are all about fact. So if he's debating people and they can't factually prove him wrong, he's the best at it, then he's winning.
Right. By the way, there's not even anything I was saying there that was even controversial. And so far, nothing I've even said has been controversial.
Andrew Wilson.
Okay, again, but you're missing the point of commentary. Like, I do videos on people I just don't like, and I just don't like you. Like, do I? Is that allowed? Do I have to like you? Am I allowed to have an opinion on you?
No, you don't have to, but why don't you like him if he's speaking truthful things? Well, you don't like him just because the truth is too much for you to handle. You don't like him. What does that say about you? If you're gonna hate people or dislike for being honest, then who's really the bad one? Like, really think about it.
People are so for free speech, but as soon as you actually use your ability to have free speech and do content that they just don't like, all of a sudden it's like, well, you're dumb, you're stupid, so you shouldn't speak because you shouldn't have an opinion. Like, I just don't like you and I'm talking about that and I get paid to do it.
And I don't think he's
that's a bunch of woman garbage. We had to meet people where
It's all just for like content, basically. She doesn't really care if it's based on truth. She just puts it out there because it's something to talk about. It's more content for her. If you go to her channel, there's loads of videos, Bonnie Blue specific. And she said plenty of times, there's nothing more I can say. I've said everything I need to say about Bonnie Blue. And then next thing you know, there's another Bonnie Blue video on her channel. I'm not one to speak. Do you know what I mean? I'm a new channel and I'm probably gonna do the same thing. Because yeah, I enjoy watching it because it's entertaining to see the dumbness, man. Again, going back on what she said earlier, with her overall content, yeah, I agree with her. Because the only ones I react to is the ones like this where she's trying to call men misogynistic. It's about being real and honest. There's nothing wrong with red pill, but then now society's trying to make red pill as like a taboo thing. Oh, you're red pill, that means you hate women.
Yeah, this is Andrew Wilson's wife, Rachel Wilson. Perhaps just as insufferable, because what I love about people like her is that people then comment going, yeah, well, she's a woman and she's speaking on behalf of women, so there you are, women bitches. Like, take that. A woman said this too. I'm like, it's Andrew Wilson's wife. You really think they're going to have differing opinions? You wouldn't marry someone like Andrew Wilson unless you agree. And honestly, I don't like usually saying pick me. And in this case, who the is picking her except the likes of Andrew, which is essentially like, okay, you have been picked, but like, that's not a flex.
You successfully got what you wanted, the man that you wanted, or you got someone to marry you, you got someone to love you and want to spend their whole life with you. Somehow a bad thing. She got a boyfriend, so she was picked. If she picked me because of that, is a bad thing.
Insufferable.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Kind of a flex. I do okay for myself, you know?
So, again, you could argue that the massive side rant I went on about Andrew Wilson's wife was pretty unnecessary, but my dislike for Andrew Wilson's wife is she is kind of like what happens. You know how you get these you get a lot of like trans YouTube creators, right, who make content about other trans people, digging on them and saying like, you're not a real woman, for example. What people do is they see these trans creators as a scapegoat to attack other trans people. Now, I see Andrew Wilson's wife as the equivalent to that. She says things that appeal to these red-pilled men's opinions, especially the audience of these men, because these men watching, they go, wow, this is so true. She's so smart. I mean, all you have to do is look at the comment section of some of his videos, and it is, in fact, in silence, I'm going to display some comments that people leave about women, and you can decide if the way this woman speaks is not encouraging the misogyny and mistreatment of women, because she thinks that she is a spokesperson and a voice for the majority of women, because she is reasonable and logical, something that men deem women not to be. That is why I dislike his wife. Regardless of her political stance, the way she speaks about women, the way she speaks about her own gender, it's sad, man. It genuinely is. It just disheartens me. And I don't want this big piss baby crybaby contest, but women...
Yeah, she speaks the truth about OF. You do all of the same things.
Women like that, man, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? All for him, by the way. Another interesting fact about these two, and another element of his hypocrisy. Andrew's wife was with other people for 27 years of her life. She had kids with other men.
Do I have 5 kids by 3 guys? Yes, I do.
So you agree that there could be a suitable partner for a man who is a Christian. One of the things that happened to be in her past was that she had all of these sexual partners, but now she has found Christ. So in that case, yeah, it wouldn't be right for him to consider that if she's changed.
Yeah, no, it would be totally right for him to consider it.
Why would he consider that?
Because it would still show a pattern of not upholding the same virtues he's looking for.
In the past, but not currently.
Well, your past behavior.
So facing your own logic, your wife is not a high value woman. Your wife is used up. Your wife is ran through. If you really truly believed in your values, why are you with her? Why are you not finding somebody who has not dedicated her life to other men? Why are you not finding somebody who hasn't had multiple children with other men? Why are you not finding someone who's not used up and been married multiple times? And there is actually a clip somewhere.
Finally, like, if someone says something truthful, just agree with it. To add on top of everything else here, and with all his intelligence and stuff like that, he wasn't smart enough to be like, yeah, this might not be a woman to get with. They're a match made in heaven, man. It seems like, yeah, they're very similar. So if it's just based on personality and connection and morals and views, yeah, okay, fair enough. They make a good couple. But basically, it's not acceptable in the Bible.
Andrew saying that like she isn't like the most attractive person in the world, which, I mean, objectively, yeah, he probably does think that, but you don't say that to the entire internet. Like, if my...
Why not? We have to lie to each other because it makes you feel better. You think that my wife doesn't?
No. I mean, quite frankly, honestly, if that's the relationship that you two have, then I completely respect that. It's not my relationship, but I will draw conclusions from that because